All right, what's up, guys? So I'm in Orlando. So those street is the road 436 and Westmount Street. So to come to 10 Planet here in Orlando to train under Ben Saunders, actually Killa B, Ben Saunders. So if you, boom. And then what you see all around, it's a lot of stores with a parking lot. So like I'm telling you, it's on road 436 and across Westmount Street. All right. So come and train with Ben Saunders. I'm telling you, an awesome guys. Show excellent technique, great on the ground, great with its stand up. Like, you'll see. Watch the interview, and I'll show you what's up inside. All right, let's go with the flow. So I'm here with Ben Killa B Saunders, and let's see if I'm capable of surviving one round without getting in that special omoplata.
He said if I wanted a picture and I said sure. Do you know who this is? Oh, that's cool. This is now the end of the story. You're gone, we're here, the last word. Yes, we're still
Nice. Nice.
Oh yeah. So like that's the thing, like you have to match.
especially now, you still like you're gonna fight for that. And now that you get a violent pass, you're just gonna cut right through
All right, so what's up, Ben? So first of all, me, a lot of things, man. I'm traveling everywhere. I'm so blessed that I came to your gym. It was so awesome. So I'm happy that you're giving me that chance to do an interview with you.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. It was definitely a privilege to have you come through the door. Anytime a black belt can come through the door, it's an awesome experience.
Yeah, it is, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So let's start from the beginning. So even before getting that gym, before getting in the UFC and all those different other league, how you, Ben, decided to become a martial artist?
I guess, man, like Bruce Lee, Ninja Turtles, when I was a kid, probably like 7 years old, I got into martial arts. My brother did karate and then would like practice the moves on me. My best friend when I was in second grade that I met, he did Taekwondo. So he was into martial arts. I ended up getting into martial arts. I pretty much, my family didn't have money, so I kind of grew up kind of broke. So we couldn't afford for me to go to martial art lessons. So I just kind of read books, read Black Belt magazine, do what I could, and kind of just spar and do stupid stuff with my friends. I ended up seeing Black Belt Magazine ended up having an ad for the very first UFC live on pay-per-view back in 1993. I was 10 years old. We were able to convince his dad to order it for us, which, looking back on it, probably should not have been, but it was definitely an experience, because the very first one is Taylor Tooley versus Gerard Gordeau. And those that remember, he got his face, he got knocked down, then kicked in the face, his tooth flew out, he got punched in the eye, and then he was like spitting blood and bleeding out of his eye. The refs called it. They didn't know what, like, the towel got thrown in. They didn't really know, like, is this the end of the fight? Should they be able to throw a towel in? Like, what's the call here? Like, no one tapped out, in it. So it was, I don't think there was a towel throw as a way to end the fight back in the day. So it was a controversy. I remember thinking, this is disgusting. Someone's gonna die. What are we watching right now? And then it turns into Hoist Gracie, just like, Ken Shamrock too, right? Like, that guy was a specimen. You see that and you're like thinking, that guy's definitely probably gonna win it. And then Hoist Gracie, pulls it out, and everyone got to see the beauty that is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and that changed the world forever. And I remember after the event, I looked at my friend and I was like, that's what I'm gonna do. And he said, you're crazy. And I said, watch me. That was 10 years old. I ended up getting a job. They had child labor laws and everything. I was 14 years old at McDonald's. So I could only work like 2 hours on the weekends. Like, I would have to have numerous breaks, but I worked my ass off. A Jeet Kune Do school opened up. And again, I was a Bruce Lee fanatic. So like, and this guy, Sifu Neil Khalif, he was directly under Dan Inosanto. Those that don't know, Dan Inosanto is the one of the best friends of Bruce Lee and one of the guys that helped Jeet Kune Do still stay relevant after he passed. So I was like, this has to be meant to be, man. Like, I'm walking through the mall. He's just got a table, and there's like a Bruce Lee like holding nunchucks, and he's got videos of Dan Inosanto doing Filipino Kali, and I'm like, dude, this is freaking. I was like, I got to get a job. I got to do this. This is what we got to do. It's meant to be. I trained with them for like 2.5 years. It was predominantly like my basic fundamentals, like how to strike. It was some Muay Thai kickboxing, some boxing, some Wing Chun, some Filipino Kali, everything but like jiu-jitsu and groundwork, but I got like a good foundation going for me. I then ended up in high school trying to go out for the wrestling team. I pinned the guy in my weight class in like under a minute or something like that, but my GPA was terrible. I slept in every class freshman year, so my GPA didn't allow it. I was like asking the wrestling coach, come on, isn't there anything you can do? And he's like, I'm sorry, bud. Like, it was basically, I don't even know you do. Like, there's nothing I can do. You just walked on, yeah, you beat that guy, but like, I'm sorry, it's your GPA. And I was like, oh, okay. But I still worked out with the wrestling team. I would show them like submissions in jiu-jitsu that, again, I learned through UFC videos, through books, through the internet, which was very, very rare at the time. I was ahead of the game with the internet, though. For those that don't know, we're talking like 1998. Yeah. So no one was really on that, let alone like jiu-jitsu websites showing techniques and stuff. Everything was like super
back then we had
rare.
books. We had to buy books and then cut those little thing or read.
Yes, yeah, it was the best thing in the world. They ended up having like Grappling magazine and stuff later down the line that would open you could utilize. But it was definitely a lot of either books, magazines, and the very select few videos and like maybe websites you could go to. After that, like, I graduated high school in 2001, and any of you guys that know what the MMA Underground is, or the UG, it was one of the very first mixed martial arts forums. And if you don't know what a forum is, it's an internet website where fanatics of a sport or, anything that you guys are kind of into, but this was for MMA, go on and they just chat and talk. We got to communicate with each other. They had a search engine where you could look up martial arts schools, and the only place that had like MMA, there was a select few jiu-jitsu gyms, but American Top Team was not even open. There is predominantly just gi school jiu-jitsu and not really MMA, but there was a place called United Champions here in Orlando, and it was run by Dean Thomas. For those that don't know, Dean Thomas, it's Dean Thomas, Matt Serra, and Dana White for the New Breed doing Dana White's Looking for a Fight. They're the stars of that. I got to move up here. I lied to my parents. I was like, yeah, I'm going to go to college. And it was really just to move up here, train with Dean Thomas, learn MMA, and learn fighting.
You're from where?
I'm from South Florida. I was born in Fort Lauderdale. I grew up in Coral Springs. And then I moved up here.
So that's where you started your Jet Kundo and everything?
Yeah.
And now to come and see Dean Thomas and all those guys, you lied and you came to...
Dude, and what's crazy is those are the two guys on Looking for a Fight. I started with Dean Thomas in MMA, and then I made it on The Ultimate Fighter season 6, and my coach was Matt Serra. So it was like, dude, and, Dana White, obviously an awesome human being that's really turned the sport into a sport. So, there's definitely a lot of love for Dana and what he's done for the sport, and obviously my career too. But yeah, that's a crazy thing right there. But so I started training with Dean Thomas. He ended up getting recruited. I broke my hand, and then while my hand was getting ready to heal, American Top Team opened up in South Florida, so they recruited Dean Thomas. So United Champions shut down, but the select few guys that we had there, Paul Rodriguez being one of them, we ended up linking up with Gracie Baja here in Orlando, and they had a small fight team that they were doing at the time, so our fight guys kind of went over there. We had Seth Petrozelli as well, and we kind of formed something kind of cool there, but then Gracie Baja is predominantly gi jiu-jitsu and sport jiu-jitsu, so they're not MMA orientated. They didn't really want to be known as like an MMA fight gym, and we were actually making big noises, and people were coming in the door and kind of asking like, hey man, what's up with this MMA fighting, or what's up with the fight team stuff? And they ended up kind of like putting us in the back room and being like, we don't really want to sell that. And I completely get it, that wasn't their thing. But my thing was, my dream was to fight in the UFC. So the guys that wanted to do it, they ended up kind of like shutting down the MMA a little bit, and the guys that wanted to go, they ended up leaving. Dean Thomas linked up with me, Luigi Fioravanti, and Paul Rodriguez, and was like, hey guys, we got American Top Team down here with Ricardo Laborio. If you guys are interested, maybe you can come down, take a block KO, which was basically the team sparring with all the pros, and you guys can do a kind of like a training session, and we'll, evaluate you and see your skill set. So we went down south, kind of went to war with all the professionals, did really good, and Laborio loved what he saw. So Laborio ended up recruiting us, and then me, Luigi Fioravanti, and Paul Rodriguez ended up opening ATT Orlando out here.
That was what years and how old were you at that time when you went down to ATT in
When
Florida?
I went to American Top Team. So while I was with Gracie Baja for like 2 years, and while we were there is when I started my pro. I went pro on 3 days' notice, actually. 3 people dropped out from fighting. Dean Thomas gave my name to the matchmaker of Absolute Fighting Championship, which if you guys look that place up, or that event up, the old school one, it was ahead of its time. It was hands down Dan Lambert. Those that don't know, he's the money and kind of the owner of American Top Team. He ended up just loving the sport, investing a lot in it, and he ended up like just getting people from Brazil, Argentina, like just around the world, like top level fighters to come out and compete. And it was like Pride. We competed not in a cage, it was in a ring.
In a ring, yeah.
Yeah. In 2004, I took a fight on 3 days' notice against Crafton Wallace. I just turned 21. I was like 15 days from turning 21. I was still a white belt, and I never had any really fighting experience at all. The guy ended up being a former ISK kickboxing champion. So when he says he's a decent striker, coming from a 21-year-old without any experience whatsoever, he was 31. He's a grown-ass man. You know,
It's more than decent. It's
yeah.
He's like
you
a
got
professional.
some real experience there. Yeah. And I'm a white belt, so he's telling me if you take him down, you'll be good. I'm not a wrestler. I'm a white belt. I like it. It was kind of a crazy thing to jump into, but again, I was a little out of my mind because even walking, I was just like cheesing ear to ear. I couldn't believe it was happening. I told the guy, I was like, yes, absolutely, let's go. When we actually went to the weigh-ins, he didn't make weight, and I thought I drove all the way down there, wasted all this money, and they were gonna call the fight. So I was like, asking the commission, does this mean it's over? Like, does this mean there's no fight? Like, what does this mean? I didn't even know I could tell him, hey, go cut the weight or go run. Yeah, I probably could have asked my opponent to go lose weight, jog it off, do what any normal professional fighter does, but I was like, oh my God, does this mean the fight's not gonna happen? I came all the way down here, I already wasted my money. I need to get paid. And it was only $300 or $200 to like show and like $200 or $300 to win.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, it's basically my gas money to go down there and potentially fight for free. It ended up being a draw. Again, you end up losing, you end up learning as much as you would from a loss without having a loss on your record. And then I got to basically know, hey, yeah, you're made for this, because most people would have quit. They would have never took the fight. You took it on short notice. And then we were fight of the night. The whole place was going crazy. Thank you, Dan Lambert, because he ended up, again, not a lot of money, but he was like, no, you guys did great. I'll give you your win bonus too. So I got an extra $200.
There you go.
For my win. And again, like, I thought my front teeth were knocked out. They were just kind of pushed back a little bit. Thank God for the mouth guard. And yeah, that was my real introduction, I guess, to it all.
I guess, huh? So that brings me the two questions. How that nickname Killa B just brought up for you?
Oh, man. Well, that actually came from my love for the Wu-Tang Clan. And I used to work downtown. I was first like a security slut where I was just working security everywhere. And that really wasn't the best job because you're looking for trouble every night. And if someone's pissed off, they'll come back a month, 2 weeks later, you won't even realize it, and they still hate you and you look the same. So people are gonna remember you. You're gonna see new people every day and not even think twice about it. So if you work security, please be safe. But other than that, I ended up getting a job as a barback, which was way better because I was just like physical labor. I didn't care about drinking. I just cared about making money and fighting. So I was able to go down there, work my ass off on weekends, and there was a drunk guy that got out of his vehicle and started pissing on our patio. And this is right after we closed. And I'm like, I look over at my manager and I was like, do we gotta clean this up or should I just let him do it? And they were like, no, you're gonna have to fucking clean that up. And I'm like, God damn it. So I open the door and I start telling the guy, hey man, like, get off our patio and stop pissing on it because I have to clean that now. And then he started chirping a lot of things, and I started laughing and smirking and smiling. And
okay.
yeah, like, you're a joke, dude. Like, you're not, like, you're talking like you're gonna beat my ass, but. So he came over and tried to like hit me with like a combination. I slipped it. I hit him with like 4 punches, knocked him over a table, and then my friend that was there ended up grabbing him and like taking him out and taking care of it. And then the next day when we were at sparring, my friend who was there that took care of the guy ended up saying, yeah, and then Ben hit the guy with his bee stingers and knocked him over the table. And they were kind of like messing with me like, oh, he didn't have power, but like, hey, I hit him with a bunch of bee stingers and the multiple combination is what knocked him over. They all started laughing at me and saying, oh yeah, Buzz, Ben, Killa B,
okay.
Killa B Saunders. And I was like, yeah, that's right, Killa B, Wu-Tang Killa B all day. And then it just stuck after that.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Nice nickname, actually. So, okay, so you said that it's been a year that you opened the 10 Planet over here?
Yeah.
So how you become a 10 Planet? And,
well, so from the history that we were kind of talking before, I joined ATT. I joined under Ricardo Laborio. I am a 3rd degree black belt under Master Ricardo Laborio. And when I was in Bellator, I was throwing up what Eddie calls Killa B control, because he never saw the form of rubber guard jiu-jitsu that I was kind of doing. He does his own thing. I knew what the rubber guard was. I actually got mastering the rubber guard when I got off the show, The Ultimate Fighter Season 6. The money that I made from the show, I was like, hell yeah, and I ended up getting my own Mastering the Rubber Guard book, and I would say that was my intro into the 10 Planet system. And then when I went to Bellator, I was kind of doing my own thing out there. It ended up getting shown to Eddie, and then he was like, that's a little different than what I'm doing, but man, whatever he's doing is working so good. That's freaking awesome. And then we started talking and communicating via social media. We were communicating, and then when the Bellator thing happened, when I ended up leaving Bellator, I was supposed to fight Matt Riddle for the Titan FC title. He broke his ankle and like shattered his ankle or something like that. So he got pulled out. They tried to get me like a bunch of replacements. It didn't end up working. And then I ended up hitting up Joe Silva and was like, hey man, I've been training my ass off for Matt Riddle in this fight. They can't find me a fight. I heard you guys are in need of replacement. Can I jump on that? And then Titan was dope, and they were able to work with me because they couldn't get someone short notice. Joe Silva brought me back. Eddie Bravo linked me up with some of his friends in South Florida that were just kind of running a hotbox 10 Planet. They met me at ATT HQ, and we're like going through, we were just running through a bunch of the rubber guard leading into that fight. So when that fight fell through, and then I got the fight to go to the UFC, I hit up Eddie and was like, oh, at the exact, crazy story too, at the exact same time, this is the first time in UFC history there was 2 UFC events on the same day. There was one in China where Tyrone Woodley...
Oh, that's a long time ago. It's crazy.
Yeah. So this is 2014. And then right after that, we linked up. He was in my corner. I get the first omoplata. I mean, textbook. It couldn't even gone better, you know? Like, that was the game plan. If they take us down, we're going to go dead orchard. We're going to elbow in the Bolivian, and then we're going to take the omoplata. That was the game plan. It worked out perfectly. And if you look, they pan over and show Eddie, and he's in awe. And I'm like, I'm in awe. Like, I believed in myself, but I'm like, you know, chances of it happening, again, it's a mythical submission. I almost had it a few times in Bellator too. So, but yeah, so that's pretty much the story of how I got involved with Eddie. And then after that, me and him, it was just, man, it was meant to be. After that, he was like, dude, if you can come out, I was like, done. And then I started traveling out there for training camps. I eventually moved out there, trained with him full time, and ended up in 2020, pre-COVID, right before pre-COVID, I ended up getting my black belt from him. So I'm currently a first-degree black belt under Eddie Bravo in 10 Planet Jiu-Jitsu, and a third-degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu under Master Ricardo Laborda.
Okay, so you're kind of like a Joe Rogan also, because he's
Yes.
a double black belt.
Yeah.
with the gi and with- okay.
I feel we're a bit rare, but man, I mean, like, it's so much respect for the sport and the arts.
Perfect. So that brings me to those 8 last questions that I always like to ask. So the first one would be, what's your favorite striking technique you like to land?
Ooh, I would say a pincho de guachoy,
Okay.
which is Wing Chun, to ideally a Thai clinch.
So, and what would be the striking you don't like the worst to get hit with?
I guess I'll say toe stomps.
So, and then what would be your favorite submission on the ground?
Ooh. I mean, really, I feel the omoplata just because I get it so often. But if not an umo, go-go. Go-go plata is beautiful. Or kind of what I showed you today with Hazlet or Hazleg, if we go horizontal.
Yeah. You know? And then what would be the submission you don't like to get submit with?
Anything neck cranking.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, anything neck cranking.
that's
So
bad.
twister for sure. Not per se darces, even though they can be neck cranky, but Japanese neckties.
And now, let's go to what would be your favorite meal you like to eat.
Favorite meal.
Tell me what would be your healthy meal, and tell me what would be your like cheat meal.
If we're just talking what normal people would do, I would say a healthy diet for me would be either, if we did like carnivore or keto, it would be like a pound of ground beef and maybe some bone broth, burgers, I guess. Just like a pound of grass-fed, grass-finished beef with non-nitrated, healthy form of bacon, and that would be my keto or carnivore variation. Usually, I'm doing like maybe carbs before I work out a little bit if I need it, and that's usually like a Gatorade or some kind of sugar. And then post-workout, because we did kind of talk about this, post-workout, I'm usually, if I'm trying to like recover fast and like, or build muscle or anything, post-workout, I'm doing usually like 30 grams of carbs or some form, like it could be sugars, it could be anything. It's just simple carbs, not complex, not slow digesting, simple carbs, and like 10 to 20 grams of some kind of fructose. That's what I've learned in my experience. You guys need to find that fine line. For those of you that don't need to worry about any of this, then maybe it's just about health, and you just got to choose what you feel would be the healthiest for you.
Yeah, and being consistent.
Yeah.
You did your homework, huh, Ben?
Dude, I'm like a scientist with this stuff.
So you answer 3 questions in 1 question. That's perfect. So that brings me up to those last question is that where's the gym you prefer train? Like, where's your favorite gym?
There's nothing like 10th Planet HQ. Like HQ in downtown LA with Eddie was freaking amazing. Or even ATT HQ. Man, so many savages down there.
that must
you know?
be, yeah.
It was incredible. You definitely had your hands full.
What would be I was forgetting about that, but that's important also. What would be your best exercise that you do to keep you fit for your martial art?
The assault bike.
Oh, yeah.
Aerodyne or whatever, like the assault bike is probably hands down the best thing you could ever do.
Okay, last question is, where's your favorite place to travel in the world?
I don't know my favorite place to travel per se, but I have been around. I will say my favorite place I've ever been as of to this day is Stockholm, Sweden.
Yeah.
Oh man, dude.
Why that so?
What's that?
Why?
The sky looks like it is within grabbing distance. You feel like you could grab the sun, the moon, the stars. It's freaking crazy. I was there in the summer of like 2018 for a fight out there, and where they had us, I guess the summertime is like the best time of year for them or something, and it was only, it would never go night. It would just kind of go a little bit less light, you know, a darkish light, if you will, and then it would get sunny and everything. There was never full night, and I've had that when I've gone to Germany too, but it was nowhere near the same as when I was there.
So that was it for the interview. I really want to say thank you to you, Ben. It was
No, thank you, man. Thank you all.
Appreciate it. And so that ended up with me telling you the secret. The secret is work ethic. With work ethic, it's the key to success. Boom.
Boom.
All right, guys, if you did like that video, please subscribe, like, comment, and also you could share.